Welcome to How to Quit Your Job, a mom's guide to creating a life and business you love. It's a podcast that helps working moms just like you optimize your time, manage your mind, and start a business that helps you create more freedom, flexibility, and yes, fun. I'm business and mindset coach Jenna Reichel, and I offer practical tips to help you ditch the 9-to-5. I've been exactly where you are, and I know what it takes to make the transition without trading one form of burnout for another. So let's get started. Hello, mom friends. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome back to How to Quit Your Job, a mom's guide to creating a life and business you love. I'm your host, Jenna Reichel, and I'm here to empower moms like you who know 100% that they need to leave the life of 9-to-5, but are not sure they have the tools to actually make it happen and be successful in a life of entrepreneurship. I'm here to give you those tools, the tools that you need, whether it be mindset shifts or business tips, so that you can build the confidence, vision, plan, and systems to start taking action to make money on your own terms. I want you to be able to show up in your career and in motherhood feeling like the superhero that you are. But too often, an inflexible and unsupportive corporate job can get in the way. Too many of us are absolutely miserable, exhausted, and dreading the day before we even wake up. And I'm here to say that it doesn't have to be that way. So let's dive right in with a mindset shift that really rocked my world when I was first deciding whether to start a business and leave my corporate role in sales leadership. It was a reckoning with failure and the realization that I had been misunderstanding the role failure plays in my life and business. This isn't the first or last time I talk about failure on this podcast because it's a critical part of the experience of trying anything new. And it's also important to recognize that failure holds so many of us back from taking action and pursuing big goals. But what's so interesting is that when we fail to start in order to avoid failure, we're still failing. It's just considered failing ahead of time. I want you to imagine you're sitting at your desk in your corporate job, and maybe you're listening to this while you're at your desk, so there's not much room for imagination. But you're staring at the clock, counting down the minutes until you escape, and time is crawling by. The worst case scenario plays in your mind. What if I fail at starting my own business and have to come crawling back to this soul-crushing routine? It's a question we're all asking ourselves constantly. What if I fail? What I like to do with the moms I work with is explore that question and answer it. So yes, what if you fail at starting your own business and have to go crawling back to that soul-crushing work routine? The answer is that you'll be right where you are right now, sitting at your desk, watching the clock, counting down the minutes until you can escape. And I want that to sink in just for a second. If you try to start a business and it fails, whatever that means, right? You will have to go back to doing exactly what you're doing right now, which means to some degree, you're failing right now by going to a soul-crushing work routine day after day. And I know you feel it because I felt it too. The dread you feel to start the day carries into everything else and has a ripple effect. You're not able to be present with loved ones because you're constantly thinking about work. You're judging yourself that you're still there instead of exploring what you're truly capable of. You're looking at friends or family who aren't in corporate and making excuses as to why it must be so much easier for them instead of you. They don't have kids. Their husband actually helps. They went to school for business. Staying at a job you hate sounds a lot like failing to me. And I'm sure it feels like failing to you too, or you wouldn't be listening, desperate to change your circumstances. Now listen, leaving your job to pursue an entrepreneurial venture is not a decision to take lightly. And on this podcast, I plan to give you tons of tools and resources to help you do it in a way that's financially and practically safe. But one of the first obstacles to get past is the resistance from even trying because of the possibility of failure. When we see the worst case scenario as going back to the life we're currently living, that's a reality check that it's worth trying. Because hey, we're currently living this life, so we know what to expect. Fear of failure is a common thread among all of us, especially moms considering the shift out of corporate life. We're so consumed by the what ifs that we forget all about the what could be's. What if there's a chance that you do something truly amazing? What if you finally feel like work isn't work anymore? What if you create a life you truly love? What if you could finally balance motherhood and career? What if you never had to request time off when your kid was sick or needed to go to the doctor? Ugh, the dream, right? That's the life that so many mom entrepreneurs are currently living. And here's the best part. They are no different than you. I remember being stuck in a career for 10 long years, constantly questioning my path. I had a degree in counseling, yet I found myself leading a sales team in the ed tech space. If I hadn't taken the leap to start my own business, I'd still be drowning in misery, resentment, and a victim mentality on a daily basis. But I had no way of knowing that this is where I'd be in my business. All I could see is that I would be giving up a safe 6-figure paycheck and everything I knew. All I could see were all the reasons my personality and skills were not cut out to be an entrepreneur. I was so afraid and certain of failure, and it held me back for 6 years. 6 years that I had been thinking about starting my own coaching practice and instead stayed in my corporate role. And then it dawned on me. The worst case scenario is that I give it a try. It doesn't work out. I make no money, and I go back to leading a sales team in the ed tech space. That's when I knew the risk I was obsessing over was not that big of a risk. I could always fall back on what I knew and what I had spent over 10 years of my career doing.
Hey moms, just jumping in real quick. If what I'm sharing resonates with you and you're ready to make real changes in your life, I'd love to support you. Through my one-on-one coaching program, I help moms just like you create the strategy and accountability needed to build a business and life you love. Ready to explore what's possible? The link to apply for a free strategy session is in the show notes. And if you're not quite ready for coaching, please join our free Mom Entrepreneur Circle, a community of moms who get it. All the links are waiting for you in the show notes. Go to jenna.coach/episode number to check it out. Now, let's get back to today's episode.
So why do we hold ourselves back? Our brains are wired to protect us, to keep us safe and comfortable. And we are so grateful to our brains because that's why humans are not extinct. It's that hyper focus on safety that has kept us alive. But it creeps in during moments that really aren't all that dangerous. And that's when we need to challenge our thinking. Staying comfortable feels good in the moment. Well, sometimes, I guess, not so much if you're miserable at your job each day, right? That's not comfortable. But staying comfortable also means we're not growing. We're not evolving. We're just existing. And for so many of the moms I've worked with, it's an existence that they aren't too proud of. When we avoid trying something new because we're afraid of failure, we're failing ahead of time. But more importantly, if we never try, we'll never know what we're capable of. We need to increase our tolerance for failure so we can find out what we're truly capable of. I know there are at least a few of you out there who have moments where you question what you're doing and whether you could be adding more value to the world. And the answer is yes. If you are barely existing in a job you hate, you absolutely are capable of more. And think about it like this. Life is a game. And when we avoid trying something new because we're afraid of failing, it's like forfeiting before you even step onto the field. You're not giving yourself a chance to win. You're not giving yourself the opportunity to learn, to grow, to evolve. And I want to touch on the benefits of trying, right? Because let's assume you fail and end up in the shoes you're currently wearing, but you gave it a good old college try, right? My husband hates when I say that. And actually, it might be the phrase nothing to write home about, but you'll find out that I'm pretty bad at phrases either way. But even if your business fails, there are countless skills and lessons you'll gain along the way. Time management, decision-making, confidence building, expanding your network. These are just a few of the invaluable benefits of stepping out of your comfort zone. It's not just about starting a business. It's about embracing every opportunity for growth and self-discovery. So what is failure really? Is it not making enough money? Is it not immediately replacing your income? Is it not achieving instant success? Or is it failing to live a life you can be proud of? Is it living a life in a career that is soul crushing when you know you're capable of more? For me, it used to be that success was money. That's the right answer, right? It wasn't until I left my corporate job and started my own business, and yes, did not immediately replace my 6-figure income, that I realized success was so much more than money. Success is starting my day at 10 a.m. so that I can get my son Adley to daycare and work out before starting my day. Success is taking off a random Wednesday for a date day to visit the DC museums. Success is spending a month in Buenos Aires with my family and continuing to work and see clients, but not once ask anyone for permission. Success is keeping Adley home from daycare because he's sick and not getting questioned by my manager. Success is a lot of things. It's not just money. And yes, I realize that money is a tool that we all need in our society, but there are so many ways to create money, but it's easy to shut off that part of our brain that sees it and is creative because we're afraid of failing. So it's important to understand what success actually means for you and what failure actually means for you. These terms seem so objective, but they actually couldn't be more subjective. When we're aware of what success and failure mean, we know more about what is most important to us in our daily lives. I talked about increasing our tolerance for failure before, and I want to revisit that because if you're going to start your own business, success is going to be on the other side of a bunch of little failures. So how do we increase our tolerance for those little failures? The ones where we are learning about what doesn't work so we can get a little bit closer to the secret sauce of what does. I hate to break it to you, but the only way to build our tolerance for failure is by failing. It's a muscle that we have to work every day or at least 5 times a week. We don't like failure, so this will be hard for so many of you, but it's imperative. Try to find situations where you're able to fail. Ask for a table at a restaurant when you know they'll say no. Do something that you're not good at and look silly. Do something every day that feels like failure. It's not going to be easy. This is something that I tried to do and challenge some of my clients to do, and it's hard. We are so used to not failing that we don't even know how to purposefully fail, especially the high-achieving women I work with. But recognize places and situations that allow you to fail so that you can manage the yucky feeling that comes with it. The self-doubt, the embarrassment, the shame, all the things. If you're willing to fail, it means you're willing to try. And if you're willing to try, you have a chance to truly change your life and find out what you're capable of. There are so many more tools and strategies that I have to share to make the transition realistic and safe. Yes, safe. So keep tuning in to get those nuggets that will inspire you. Next week, we're going to be talking about something concrete that everyone loves, concrete planning, and what goes into picking a transition date. Yes, we're going to be thinking critically about picking a date that we can work towards, which I know will scare the hell out of everyone, but stay with me. This is a practical and meaningful step in the process. It's a way to start rewiring your brain so that you're geared towards making this happen. We're starting to shift from thinking to taking action. So let me leave you with this. Are you willing to embrace failure as a necessary part of your journey? Are you willing to take the risk and play the game, knowing that the rewards far outweigh the risks? That's all for today's episode. Thank you for joining me on this journey of empowerment and transformation. And until next time, remember to embrace failure, because that's where the magic is going to happen. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next week.
Before we wrap up today's session, I want to talk to the mom who's been nodding along, feeling seen and understood. Maybe you've been thinking about leaving corporate and building your own business, but you're not sure where to start, or if it's even possible with everything else on your plate. I'm here to tell you it's possible. I've helped moms go from a vague business idea to replacing their corporate income, and I've supported others in discovering their passion and signing their first client, all while balancing working in corporate and balancing family. My one-on-one coaching program is intimate support and helps you develop the strategy and accountability you need to move your business forward. As a mom myself, I understand the unique challenges we face in prioritizing our own needs. And that's exactly why I specialize in working with moms just like you. If you're ready to explore what's possible, there's a link in the show notes to apply for a free strategy session. This isn't a pushy sales call. It's a genuine conversation to see if we're a good fit for each other. And if you're not quite ready for one-on-one coaching, you can join our free Mom Entrepreneur Circle, a supportive community of other moms who are on this same journey. The link to join is in the show notes as well. Remember, you don't have to figure this out alone, whether it's through the podcast, our free community, or working together one-on-one. I'm here to help you create a life and business you love. Now go take that next step. Whether it's big or small, just take it. I'll be here next week with more strategies and support to help you along the way. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of How to Quit Your Job,
A mom's guide to creating a life and business you love.
If you want to learn more about how I can help you stop making excuses and start making moves, head on over to www.jenna.coach. I'll see you next week.